I don't know if we're going to keep using this. No, we're not.
It's up to you.
Good to know. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Quinn's version of Sting's love song in honor of Valentine's Day. It's actually really lovely. All right, I'm turning that off, however. Can you hear us? Because we're trying something new. Stop doing that, Dr. Mary. It's right in front of the microphone.
Your chin's itchy.
Well, you have to itch it later. That's how that works. All right, good morning.
Well,
Happy
they heard
Friday. Stop that now. What a week.
Yes.
Freezing cold.
Mm-hmm.
Total despair. Thad Stafford.
Yes.
That
was
Thad
fantastic.
was not total despair. Thad was fabulous. It was a great conversation. I'm sorry that we had some technology glitches and sort of had to end abruptly. But wow, I have thought a lot about so much of what he said yesterday. So thank you for joining us, Thad, and for sharing all of that with us. All right. 5 or 6 questions based on this week's conversations. First question. Where can you put the word yet into your planning for change? Where can you move from definitive failure to hopeful positivity? So obviously based on Seth Godin's adding of the word yet. I haven't done this yet. So I think that's a really important piece for all of us.
Yeah.
Even something as stupid as, if you get a lot of snow and you say, well, I haven't shoveled yet. Okay, well, your mail carrier has to trudge through that. So maybe put your snow pants on and go out and think about somebody besides yourself. Don't put the yet at the end of that. Do your job. You're a homeowner. Go out and shovel. I gripe about that all the time, but it's important. That's kind of a funny little example. But it's just about, in that case, it's about being thoughtful.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So where can you move from definitive failure to hopeful positivity? Because you said something in the conversation, your numbers aren't where we need them to be yet.
Yeah.
There's time. There's time to make the change, so make the change. Next one. You can be used as an excuse. Oh, sorry, it's a little far for me. I should have glasses on. Yet can be used as an excuse or to dismiss someone or something. How do you ensure that you aren't using it to avoid taking responsibility or moving forward?
That's the tough one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
No.
That sort of indicates that you're just not going to do it.
Yes.
Do you want to add to that?
Not yet. No, we're all guilty of it. I was incredibly guilty of it. I try hard not to be, of course. I bet you I still do. But not as my first knee-jerk stock answer anymore.
No, you're a billion times better. Next question. How do you deal... Sorry.
How do you do?
Suddenly I'm the Swedish chef.
Yeah.
How do you deal with terrible disappointments? What are your go-to solutions?
Oh, yes.
So this applies obviously to Tuesday and me, but also think about what Thad said. So, being a detective around child sex crimes is not a terrible disappointment, but it's a terrible trauma. What's your go-to management system? Because we all have to come up with a new one when we let go of the one that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you've had some disappointments in these last 4+ years.
Mm-hmm.
You have not turned to alcohol. So what is your new management system for disappointment?
Well, mine's very... I wouldn't... Don't try this one at home, but the fact that I nearly drank myself to death is pretty much... I can sit there and go, well, it's got to be better than that. And I honestly, I just take a deep breath, and I remember something my dad always used to say. Every time something, went bad, or if we were doing something, some DIY project, and it wasn't working, he'd just look at me and goes, oh, crap, put the kettle on. So I do. I'll make myself a cup of what he would drink very strong tea, but I'll make myself a coffee. I take a breath. I thought, right, let's get back to this. And, 98% of the time, after that little break, I get it done in 5 minutes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is very true. I
And sometimes I also just need you around to say, Maz, Mary, don't spiral. And I stop spiraling. Case in point is when we were putting the new light in our kitchen ceiling. I did spiral there for a brief minute.
You know, just because you're sober doesn't mean
No.
everything needs to be perfect.
But, you know, that's it. It's just things like that.
Yeah.
You're allowed a minute of, "Ugh," and then you think, all right, come on, you can do this. And honestly, it really is that simple. And that's coming from someone who had to rewire their response. It's still simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is a choice. It's a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess not everything is, but most of the things that cause us great disappointment, how we respond to them is a choice. Sometimes something truly catastrophic happens, and we're setting all of that aside. But just the kind of day in and day out disappointments, even if they feel big, how you deal with them is a choice, and what you use to manage through them is absolutely a choice.
Yes. Well put.
Thank you. What boxes are you being asked to fit inside? How much longer will you allow that narrative to define you? So this might be boxes that you're putting yourself in. This might be boxes that somebody else is putting you in. This might be cultural boxes, or gender related, or work related, or relationship. It doesn't really matter what the box is. What matters is how are you managing it. So I'm reading a book right now called Limitless that I'll talk more about when I finish. But she talks a lot about sort of what can you control. If you have a soulless job, but that job affords you the ability to have a weekend lake place that you just absolutely love, well, then that's not such a terrible box.
No.
If you have a soulless job and you have nothing to look forward to on the weekends, then you probably need to think about getting out of the box of that job. But I like that idea because I really believe, and I'll just speak for myself, I put myself in way, way more boxes than anybody else expects me to get into. I take them on and I acknowledge them, and then I sometimes hop right in, and then I chafe at being in that box. My goal is to stop being in the damn box that I have stepped into willingly. That's just stupid.
It is tough though. It is easy to overextend yourself, I guess, is what that amounts to.
Or just allow other people to either tell you what you need to do, or you to decide that they're going to, so you just do it in advance. You know, my whole thing is you're not the boss of me. How can I both live by you're not the boss of me and, oh, there's a box you'd like me to get into? Let me hop into that before you even suggest it.
It's a tightrope.
That's stupid. That's a stupid tightrope. I'm cutting that rope. All right. So many of us make significant plans for our assets after we are gone. What plans do you need to make for the life you're actually living today? So this goes back to that living will. Don't keep me plugged into things and alive by liquids. Great, shut your computer and put the wine bottle down. I loved that meme. So again, I'm not saying you shouldn't make plans for your assets once you're gone, because of course you should. You maybe have children to take care of. You don't want the government deciding or the legal system deciding where your stuff goes and where your children go. But shouldn't you also be actively planning for how you are living?
Yeah. No, it's true.
That was very definitive.
No, I was thinking about I actually had this thought the other day that if I was left to be the last one out of the two of us, what would I do with our house? And then I actually thought about giving it to the Silver Dollar Club as an AA meeting house, and thought, well, could I legally do that, or would our neighbours have something to say about it? So why I paused is, do I want to start this thread of conversation and then end up with, remember to legally look into all the ramifications of your choice, which seems like a really boring thing to have on a Friday morning, but Yeah,
Well,
that was a thought that just skipped through my head
that's fine.
the other day.
Yeah. Because that's something that has meant something to you, and you know that it could be useful to other people.
Is it just going to be, hey, let's just give it to Quinn?
Well, we won't give it to Quinn because Quinn probably isn't going to want to move to Fargo, North Dakota, but we'll figure that out. But the bigger point is to figure...
Good school district.
Dr. Mary, stop. The big point is to figure out, what are you doing today? What are you planning to do today while you're still alive? I think this is the last question. It is.
Yes, it is.
Thad Stafford joined us yesterday to talk about finding it easier to get the help he needed once everyone knew his shameful secret, which I think was very much true for us as well.
Yeah.
Nobody, except for a very few people who tentatively reached out to me about Maz's drinking, nobody had any idea what was going on, including the two of us. So here's the question. What do you need to stop hiding and make public so that you can start to heal from it? And by make public, I don't mean start a daily live stream or end up on the cover of your local newspaper. I mean, what do you just need to acknowledge? So I have a friend, actually she's been a guest, Wendy Wheeler was a guest of ours, I think maybe in January. And Wendy posted yesterday that she's going back to Weight Watchers. And I didn't ask her if I could talk about this, but she posted it publicly. So Wendy, I'm sorry if this offends you. I certainly don't mean for it to. But Wendy posted that she was going back to Weight Watchers because she finds it to be an incredibly helpful system to manage her weight. And then she said, is there anybody who'd like to join me? Because I do better when I'm working with someone else, which we all know is true. Accountability is just almost guarantees that you will be more successful. So it's not about the shameful things. It's not about the really deep, dark secrets. You might have something as simple as, I cannot shake this COVID weight. Or, boy, I haven't written as much as I want to, so I am going to try and I'm going to post online that I'm going to commit to writing more, and then I'm going to try and find a writing group. Whatever it is, it does not need to be huge. But what do you need to bring out and post publicly, discuss publicly, so that you can start to either hold yourself accountable, have others hold you accountable, or begin to heal from whatever it is. We're listening to a Brene Brown podcast with Dax Shepard and Tim Ferriss, and Tim Ferriss wrote the 4-Hour Work Week. And we're not through it yet, but he just brought up this idea that he very recently, so he's 43 years old, he very recently, for the first time ever, discussed that he was sexually abused as a child. And Dax Shepard was also sexually abused as a child. And they both talked about the anxiety around discussing it, their fears of how the public would react because people can be so brutal. And how they have coped with it since they talked about it, and how freeing it has been. It's really an important and interesting conversation. And again, it does not need to be that significant a secret. But I think these are all really pretty important things to think about. And then the last thing to encourage you to think about is it's Valentine's Day weekend, and you can say, that's just a made-up holiday, right? Yes, of course it is. That doesn't mean you shouldn't celebrate it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't find someone to send a sweet little Valentine's Day card to, or call, or text, or Zoom, or do whatever you want to do. And it doesn't need to be romantic. It can be family, or friends, or neighbors, or anybody in your life who matters to you. And if you live in Fargo-Moorhead and are thinking, I wish I'd bought some Valentines, guess what? The art incubator that we operate inside West Acres is open this weekend, and I happen to know that a lot of the artists have done really fun Valentine-specific kinds of making. So you could go there, you could safely enjoy local art, you could support local art, you could pick up your Valentines and have a great day all around it. So they're open tonight and tomorrow. Go to the Arts Partnerships Facebook page if you want to know more about that. And now I feel that I've done my due diligence. I've crossed all of my T's, dotted all of my I's, because I've talked about addiction and art and Valentine's Day. Anything else from you, Dr. Mary?
Brilliant. Just keep in mind, if you know someone who's alone or you know is feeling lonely, this is one of those weekends and one of the days. It's a bit like Christmas Day. Everyone's happy about Christmas Day, but some people just don't like it. You know.
Yeah, if you lost your love during COVID, this is not going to be a fun weekend for you.
So if you know someone like that, just send them a text. Just say, "How you doing? Thinking of you." That could mean the world to them.
Absolutely, and could be the difference between, say, keeping someone who is on the sober side of this journey sober one more minute, which might be all they need to get through one more day. So, happy Valentine's Day weekend.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Stay warm. We'll see you on Monday. Don't forget, you can get this and so much more if you sign up for our newsletter. All you need to do is let me know you want me to sign you up, and we'll get you on it. And tomorrow morning, this will end up in your inbox. Have a great weekend.
Have a good one.
Bye.
See you Monday.
Oh, I can do this. It's not working.
No, you can't.